If you talk to me, baby, then talk to me nice. Being the dog, she's smiling.
Welcome back, guys. Definitely appreciate the support. I want to make a very quick video going over something that I think is very important in regards to being creative on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, football is all about, I mean, it's a compound thing when you decide to refuse to learn cover 4 match. Well, let me change the thickness on that guy down to 2. Okay, there are guys where, you know, cover 4 match, they've heard about it, they've heard about match coverage, and they decide that they don't want to learn about it. They don't want to deal with that. They just want to stick in vanilla coverages or stick with cover 3, spot drop, country 3, whatever. And that's all fine and dandy, but you are robbing yourself of so much in regards to the game that in the long run, you're just going to be left behind. Okay, it's very important to learn the basics of match coverage and the different rules of different defenses, because then that sets you on a path to be more successful on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball. There's a clip of Mike Martz, the architect of the greatest show on turf. I was watching an interview with him, and he said, you know, I studied defensive tape for 5 years for him to get a firm understanding on the rules of defense. And when you understand the rules of defense as an offense, well, then you know where to attack and where to bend the rules with different route concepts to where you can get someone with favorable matchups and etc. Right? So I'm going off the rails with that. But first of all, you guys know, let me change that. You guys know this sequence here. If you've been to my channel, if this is your first time to my channel, definitely go check out my videos on pre-snap reading. Okay, this is 422031. That is a numerical sequence that I put together a couple of years ago. Basically, any defense in the game you pick, it's going to fall under one of these 6 different shell coverages. This is 2-zone, this is 2-man. We know this is double high side, middle of the field is open. And this is the single high side, middle of the field is closed. Okay, and what you need to understand with this is there are variants underneath each of one of these shell coverages. So like you have cover 3 cloud, you have cover 3 sky, you have cover 3 buzz, right? You have cover 1 robber. You know, you have cover 1 with different blitz schemes on this side, etc. You know, I don't want to go off the rails. Cover 2 zone, you have 2 match, you have regular cover 2 zone, cover 2 seam. Cover 4, you have palms, you have match, etc. Okay, that's the whole point. The whole point is, with a double high safety defense, it is a split safety structured defense. So you see how we have 2 safeties here? Okay, and what we do is we draw a line down the center of the offense. And with the split field coverage, this is why I love double high safety defenses, is we can play one variant of double high on this side of the field and play a totally different variant on this side of the field. And what do I mean by that is, okay, these different variants, you have palms. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to that rule, okay? But basically, we can play 2-man on this side if we wanted to. Man-to-man, man-to-man, deep half, right? Where we get you inside leverage on the LOS. And then we play our cover 4 stuff over here. Now, against Bunch, you guys know he takes the first inside underneath, he takes the first outside underneath, he takes the first deep inside, he takes the first deep outside, right? Basically, with cover 4, what we're getting is we're getting a 4-on-3 on this side of the field, and we get a 3-on-2 on this side of the field, right? And that is where you try to get an advantage while playing cover 4. We have one guy more on the defensive side of the ball as opposed to offense, right? 3-on-2 or 4-on-3. So we like to think that we have an advantage. Okay. Now, where I'm getting at is, because we know the rules of cover 4, we can do something very creative on defense with different sets, right? So let me see. Hopefully I got this in the right order. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. What if we... Okay, I think this is where I pause it. What if we do something like this? Okay, now again, if you're on offense, you don't see the play art, right? It looks like a double high safety defense, maybe some cover 4 or whatever. But when we bring the safety down like this, think about the different things that will pop up into the head of your opponent, right? first things first, they're going to think, is this guy coming? Right? And I've seen a lot of different reactions to this alignment. Just moving him down alone, right? Sometimes they block the back, right? And you will see in this clip, a lot of them block the back, or maybe, I don't think in this clip he blocked the back, it was part of the play, but they rush the throw because they're so scared of a potential off the edge blitz by this player, right? Okay, now you may say, well, there's a problem with that because now you're taking a safety down from the top of the rails here, and you're bringing him on the LOS, and that can be a problem with the structure. Well, no, actually not. The whole point of pressure is you want to develop a scheme when you are simming pressure or showing pressure or bringing pressure. You want to do it in a way to where you do not destroy or weaken the integrity of your defense. You want to be sound on the back end. That's what I'm looking for. And we are still sound. What I mean by sound is, if I were to take this player and bring him down and blitz him, right, and leave this safety up here, we would not be sound in defense because he could just go straight up the field with no resistance. Quarterback would rip on the ball and that'd be an easy touchdown, right? There'd be no path of resistance to the end zone because this safety, we know the rules of this defense. In this defense, they are dealing with the bunch. You are Meg on the receiver. You are Meg on the back, and this is a free player, right? Now, if you leave it alone, he typically, I believe he plays more inside, like post control. Okay, so if we were to take this guy and blitz him, there'd be no one to deal with this outside route, right? That would be a poorly constructed defense, okay? But knowing where the free player is in the secondary, the safety, we're able to do a lot of different things with them. So bringing them down here and simming the possibility of us bringing a pressure off the edge with them, it does not weaken the integrity or make it to where our defense is not sound in structure on the back end. Okay, that's basically what I'm trying to get at here. So because we know the rules of the defense, we know what players we can utilize to create exotic looks, right? So this is where I just snapped the ball, and you see how the safety goes to deep middle because, again, with the stock the way Madden is, I think he plays post control because, again, he's the free player against this formation while playing cover 4 match. Okay, now let's take it a step further, right? This is where knowing the base thing is to know the rule. We know the rules of the coverage. You have to learn that, right? You have to learn that first, and then you build from there. Okay, hey, you know, I want to be able to develop exotic looks. I want to be able to develop pressures, right? So this is the thing what we can do. Whenever the offense is on the boundary, right? You guys know boundary, right? This is the boundary side because they're on the hash, and this is the field side. So there's more space to work with on this side of the field. So an offense that, you know, is actually playing in like an optimal manner, they would put their bunch, as we see here, on the field side. Why? Because you have 3 offensive threats and you want more space for these players to attack. At least that's my opinion. And on the boundary side, you would have your 1 receiver, as we see on the side. Well, you know what? Okay, you're doing a good job as far as lining up, right? Okay, but now, because we are on the boundary side, I like to leverage the boundary. How about we do something like this? I believe I do it here. Bring the safety over, bring the corner down. What do you think about that, right? Now think about what your opponent is thinking. What the hell is going on here? He took the corner, and he brought him over here, and now the safety is over here. They didn't, you know, obviously he's not going to know what we're doing. But the first things first, you will see a lot of players, when you start doing this on the boundary while playing cover 4, okay, they're going to think that this guy's coming almost every single time. And when you do this, watch what they do. See how they react to these exotic looks, right? If you see him start to block the back, think about the limitless potential you can do with your defense in that situation. It is a domino effect, okay? If you block the back, okay, for one, what does that do for this player? Remember, in cover 4 match, he's Meg against this player in a formation like this, and the corner's Meg on this player, right? And this is our post control player, okay? Well, if you block, I have no one to defend, so what does that do for me? Well, now I can do a number of things with this player if I wanted to. I could play You know, I could zone out. I could play into the curl. I could look to cut the number 1 if he comes inside. I can look to play post control for something crossing over the middle. From the bunch side, you can do a number of different things. Now, obviously, you would have to control him as a user to do that. But again, I'm just throwing ideas out there. Okay. But then sometimes they will continue to just release the back out into the route. And if they do that, then obviously he will run with them because he's Meg. But then we can do things where we actually are bringing the blitz. And that is where we try to develop ways to where we can get a free rusher while still only bringing 5 players. Okay, and we will get into that. I want to build into that. I don't want to put too much on your plate. But again, I'm just showing you the different things we can do just by alignment alone, the different problems we can create. Now, what I like to do with this is I user the safety, and I will show you the different things that we can do leveraging the boundary like this with the corner. Another thing that this does is it adds an element in the box, right? Now, instead of 5 players in the box, well, you really have 6, right? So this is something we can tilt in our favor in the run game as well, right? Just by alignment alone, right? We really didn't change anything. Okay, so let's see what else I got here. Now, obviously, on the practice field, the computer doesn't do what I want it to do. I forgot what I was doing here. Okay, and look how we snapped the ball. And you saw how the corner turned and went to play man-to-man against this player. Why? Because in this formation, if this was bunch over here, he is Meg on the wide receiver. We know the rules of the coverage. That is what I'm getting at. Now, I want to show you something here. This is trips, and we have cover 4 regular match called. Now, can we do those same things with the safety? Like bring him down on the LOS here and give our opponent the illusion that we might be coming? No, we cannot. And why is that? That's because we understand the rules of this coverage against this formation. Against this formation, when you play regular cover 4 match, the bubble, always look for the bubbles, is here. 3 on 2. He's reading 1 to 2. He's reading 2 to 1. And he's our match 2 player. That's the easiest way for me to see how match plays. Right? The number 3, if he goes vertical, this guy is responsible for taking that route. He wants to play inside and almost pass him off to the safety. Okay? So that is why we cannot tinker with the weak side safety and do what we did in the last clip and bring him up to the LOS, because now the defense is not really structured properly. Okay, it's not sound and structure. This guy would get a free path to the end zone with a nice big throw. I think I show it here in this clip here. So why don't we take a look? And this is what I'm getting at. Because we understand the rules of the coverage, okay, we know that we cannot do this against this formation. Okay, yes, we're on the boundary. Yes, we like to do this, right, to show as if we're coming or not. However, we know that we cannot do it with this player here because, again, he's responsible for the vertical of number 3. So this time I actually blitz him. And you'll see, look how the tight end, no one there, right? That's a poorly constructed defense. So what do we do? Does that mean anytime we play against trips, we cannot leverage the boundary and be creative on that side? No. What we do is we play cover 4 palms. Okay? And why are we able to do this? Because we know the rules of the coverage. Okay? So in cover 4 palms, there's a subtle change. Okay? Instead of the bubble being here, as it is in cover 4 match, the bubble changes. The bubble is here. This is where we get our 3 on 2 deal. Now you are Meg on this receiver. That's how it is in palms. You are Meg, man everywhere he goes, and you are Meg. Uh-oh, we have our free player, right? Now, as you know, in palms, the reason why the bubble shifts is because 3, 2, the safety is reading 3 to 2. This nickel corner is reading 3 to 2 as well. If 3 goes out, then the corner takes him, and the safety who sees 3 going out will now take the route of number 2 going vertical, right? It turns into almost like a cover 2 here. like flat, against that route combination, right? And that's the beauty of match coverage. It's almost like an organism that morphs and plays out to what you would rather it play against specific routes. I don't want to go too deep into that. But if they were to go verticals here, well, then I take this route, and then I know I'm taking this route. Now, obviously, there are weaknesses to that, right? This is knowing the rules of the coverage. I'm not going to get into that because that can go too deep. But because we know that this is a free player because we are playing palms against trips, now we can go back to doing what we like to do, right? On the boundary side of the defense. We can bring the safety down, and now we can start playing games with our opponent. We can blitz that player. Okay, now when you do this, you always want to at least maintain the potential threat that you will come off the edge. If you always bring him down and he never comes, well, then he'll never respect it. He will never respect the fact that you might come, and he'll always send the back out, and he'll be adequate in protection, right? So now if you start to do this and you blitz and they still pick him up, right? They slide out to pick him up. Don't worry, we're going to get into creating ways to where we can get a free rusher while only bringing 5. That is where you want to be, right? So now watch, we're going to run the same 4 verts that we did with the tight end busting free against match, and you will see that it doesn't happen this time. Let's see what happens. And again, that's because we are playing palms. Look how the safety is taking that now, because again, the bubble shifts when you are playing palms against trips. Again, it is because we know the rules of the coverage. So I think I get into some game action and I show you what we can do while doing this. So here, you know, I play opponents online, and I really don't fear, you know, giving up a big play, because a lot of guys, you know, I don't want to say that they're bad, but they kind of struggle against certain things like this or certain looks like this. So again, this is a trips formation. I can guarantee you I'm in palms, right? So the bubble is here, and then your meg, your meg, your meg. So this is a free player, right? So let's see what I do here. I bring him down. So I actually do blitz him, I think. And, oh, here's another thing. Knowing the rules of the coverage, now you can play any defender in the defense because you know the rules, right? So I will play all types of players. I will use her the corner sometimes. I will use her this corner sometimes. Sometimes I'm on the nickel defender because I know the rules, right? So here I'm taking the safety, and I know my rules here. Okay, I took this nickel. 3, 2. I know that I'm reading this player. If 3 goes out, I take him. Because I know in that instance, the safety will take the 2, right? If 3 goes vertical, I know I have this guy all vertical, right? But pay attention to this. This guy's coming, and watch how he hurries a throw when he doesn't need to, and we get an interception here, right? He throws it. I mean, the route's not even finished, and he's throwing the ball. I think he was afraid of the pressure, right, of that safety coming down. So he makes a big mistake, and it was 3rd and 16, so I like to do that too, show exotic looks. But let's take it a step further. We don't just play with the safety, right? Obviously, we're on the boundary. How about we bring this corner over here and watch what happens here? Uh-oh. Bringing the corner over here, right? And now I'm going to use it as safety. And now, it's just so fun to think about this, guys. Now, because we know the rules of the coverage, we can add our rules, knowing what's going to happen. And watch I'm going to go over the rules I go over, okay? I bring the corner over here. Now, in traditional, he's meg on this player. But just because we moved him in, that doesn't change his rules. He is still meg, man, everywhere he goes on this player, right? So this is a fake pressure, okay? But he's going to turn and whip and play this defender man-to-man. So what I do as a safety is I'm eyeing this defender. If this defender takes an outside release, then no matter what, I top the route, right? Because our corner will never be able to defend that route properly. He will be inside trail underneath, right? So we have to take that route if he takes an outside release. However, if he takes an underneath inside release like this, then I immediately go to deep post looking to catch a crosser. And why is that? That's because he's running into Our corner who's whipping around is gonna be able to play a lot better inside, being that he's that far inside, playing man-to-man coverage on this guy, right? So this is us creating rules where we can optimize the way we play as a safety in this coverage, all because we maneuver with pre-snap alignments, right? Watch what happens on this play. He actually runs a post. But when he runs a post, we have us topping the route and the corner playing underneath the route. It's almost like, I think they call it a cone technique, or I think a Fangio, forgot what you call it, where it's top and bottom, corner playing underneath, safety playing over top. I think Fangio calls it vice. I can't remember, but right. But watch what happens. I mean, that's just like, that's just, I mean, think about the different things you can add to your defense. I'm going to play it again. I'll play it without stopping. But you can be very creative with this stuff. Right? So this is a cat and mouse game we can play on the boundary side. And I like to do this on the boundary, again, because it, you know, if you're playing it optimally, you'll have your strong set on this side, your 3-2-1. But over here, you will have a lot of times your single receiver side. And I like to play cat and mouse games with the corner and the safety while playing match on this side, having this guy as the free player, where we can do a number of things. We could bring the corner down and blitz him. We could bring the corner down and not do anything with him to where he's still playing man with this player, and then we read the release of that player, right? I mean, it's just a number of different things you can do here. I don't remember what happened here. This time I blitz him. Okay. So now I'm going to blitz him. So we are now man-to-man. No matter what, we are meg on this player. Because if we play deep middle, obviously that's a poorly structured defense. He has no resistance to the end zone. So we are forced to play man-to-man. This is where you kind of got to buckle your chin strap, I guess you could say. And don't be scared in playing man-to-man coverage, right? A lot of guys want to play the 3-rec hook, the quarter flat. You can't play scared, right? If you want to be a creative defense, you got to be able to play any player on the defense and know the rules of the coverage, so you know what you're responsible to do. And when you know the rules, you know where you can bend the rules. You can't bend the rules of a coverage if you don't understand the rules, right? Okay, so now I know I'm man-to-man on this player. So what we can do is we can read the release. This is where you get into cornerback play, okay? And you're going to see this guy run a slant, and you see me mess up. I should have, the second I see him cut in, I should have drove on the route. Okay, and again, look how we play with inside leverage. Okay, you draw a line down the center. Relative to us, these two players, this would be the boundary, and this would be the field, right? So we don't want to give away the field to this player. This is why we play with inside leverage, off coverage. Okay, right here. I should be driving, reading the route. I know it's a slant. I should be driving on this. Okay, corner gets there, and he drops the ball, right? So that's just a nugget I'm throwing on your guys' plate, okay? I'm going to build on this. I'm going to call this leveraging the boundary. I learned about this. I'm not taking credit for this idea. It just blew my mind when I read it. I found this out from Cody Alexander. He's a big cover 4 match guy. He's a big match guy. He loves match. That's all he deals. Well, he deals with cover 3 and different things, but he is a master when it comes to match coverage. Okay, I think he's a high school or a college football coach. Okay, but he's real big on the X's and O's. He has a website called matchquarters.com. Teaches a lot of great stuff when it comes to match coverage. Okay, and this is where I learned about this, about leveraging the boundary with your corner. Okay, and then that's when I started to blast off with coming up with ideas with what we can do with the safety, you know, rotating the coverage, reading the release of that player, and knowing what we should do, etc. Okay, so I hope you guys throw this into your bag, and I hope you keep coming back for more, man. Peace.